How far have you gone to help someone, only to get screwed over in the end? I live in China and I had an 18-year-old Australian roommate who we will call Child, due to his lack of adult qualities, and an absolutely fantastic dog who will be referred to as Doggo. I got a Doggo as a puppy and he was a perfect dog. He actually helped me find the woman I married, so you can safely say I was attached to him. Throughout my ownership of Doggo in China, Child was living with me until he got fired from his job for going completely AWOL, and even before that his work performance was a 2/10 at best. He was a bit of a failure at every aspect of life, and for some reason I couldn't help but feel sorry for him. Sometimes I would give him food when I would cook, as he couldn't even boil an egg. I taught him how and he ate only eggs for a week, and I would end up doing all the cleaning in the apartment as he couldn't and wouldn't do it himself. Throughout the entire time we were staying together, any kindness or generosity was completely coming from my side and was never returned from him. The only thing he ever did was play and walk Doggo. Once he had lost his job, he had nowhere else in the city to stay, so he kept coming back and staying in my old room. I moved into his old room the moment he left, as he got the nicer room when we moved in. I had essentially ignored his existence while in the apartment, as my girlfriend had moved into my room and I had no reason to ever really interact with him except to try and get him to leave. I wasn't putting much effort into that anyway, as he was keeping Dog occupied while I was spending time with the girlfriend. Eventually Child flies home to Australia, he steals some of my stuff and gives it to a guy he barely knows, is there for a few weeks, and his parents kick him out for not doing anything with his life. He returned to China to go to a low-end university in the south on a complete full scholarship, because he was their only white student, and got back in contact with me. I was living in the north, so we were 1,000s of kilometers apart. He would constantly be sending me messages about Doggo, saying how much he missed him and how much he loved that dog. I cannot exaggerate how often and serious these messages were. He actually tried to call Doggo intoxicated one Friday night. This went on for a couple months until I had issues with my employer, who had been subletting the room I was staying in, and I had 4 days to leave the apartment. When I was moving, I didn't have the capacity to take Doggo with me, so I offered to fly him down to Child, as I knew he had always taken good care of him in the past. Child accepted immediately and was so excited to see Doggo. I paid a lot of money, and a few days later, he was with Child in the south. I should point out that the south is where China gets its reputation for eating dogs, so I made sure to warn Child not to let Doggo out on his own and keep a close eye on him. I had heard a lot of stories about dogs being stolen for food, and he was living in a very low-tier city. I had kept in contact with him for a couple of months, then all went quiet. He wouldn't respond to my messages or calls, so I couldn't get an update about Doggo. About a month went by and I got my girlfriend, who was Chinese, to contact his university to see what the story was. To my complete horror, one of his lecturers told my GF that Child had decided to give up on university and fly back to Australia. He just dumped Doggo on the street. The lecturer actually said she had seen Doggo hanging around campus as a stray, so my girlfriend immediately told her that if she saw him again to grab him and that I will pay to have him sent home. She did see him again. It was the moment the bus hit him. Child wouldn't respond to anything I ever sent him until 2 days after I was married. He actually sent me a message congratulating me, and when I responded he tried to end the conversation very quickly. I asked him if he was going off to slaughter more dogs, then told him how he had slaughtered Doggo. I got a sorry, crap happens, and an explanation that he had lost his wallet, so he thought he should drop out of school and leave the county. He then proceeded to accuse me of stealing his computer keyboard, then never contacted me again. Sometimes I'll be happily walking along the street and see a dog which will remind me of what happened to my Doggo. I would love to get revenge, but there is literally no way I can do anything since he lives in another country now and I have no way to contact him. I miss Doggo.